Hello friends, again welcome back to my channel. Today we will see the most interesting part of this topic, that's a working mechanism of human heart. In that we see the first phenomena, that is the first point, it's a cardiac cycle. So first of all we know what is meant by the cardiac cycle, that is the sequence of event between the one heartbeat to next heartbeat. It called as the cardiac cycle. I think so all of you know what's a heartbeat. What's a heartbeat? आप सभी को पता होगा heartbeat क्या है, heartbeat का meaning क्या है. That's a rhythmic contraction and the relaxation of a heart. By the action of cardiac muscle, it's known as the heartbeat. This cardiac cycle, that is a human heart, it is alternately contract and the relaxed. The contraction it is called as the systolic condition and the relaxation it called as the diastolic condition. That is atria and the ventricle, it is contract alternately. As all of you know, the normal heartbeat is 72 times per minute. That for one heartbeat it requires 0.8 seconds. Means one systole plus one diastole. It's occurred one after another without any interruption. There is a formation of a single heartbeat. That's called as the cardiac cycle. That is the normal heartbeat, it's a 72 beats are completed in a 1 minute in an adult. There is a one image it's given. What's that image? What's it indicate? It is a AS. What's a AS? It is a arterial systole. Second AD, it is a arterial diastole. VS, it is a ventricular systole. And the VD, it is a ventricular diastole. आप सभी को ये जो वाली कंसेप्ट है ये अच्छे से समझ में आए, इसलिए मैं आपको एक वीडियो दिखाती हूँ ताकि ये जो कंसेप्ट है आपको बहुत आराम से और इजीली समझ में आएगी. आपने पढ़ाई नहीं की तो भी मैं जो आपको ये आज पढ़ाने वाली हूँ आपको बहुत आराम से और इजीली समझ में आएगा. आप इजीली पेपर में इसका आंसर लिख सकते हो.
The mystery of the rhythmic beating of the heart. We come to realize that heart performs this function with flawless consistency. The heart is an organ that beats throughout the lifetime of a person. Are you aware that in an average lifespan of 70 years, it beats about 2.5 billion times? The heart beats rhythmically due to the electrical impulses which cause synchronized contraction of the heart muscles. These impulses cause the contractions of the atrium and the ventricles which allow the heart to pump blood. But have you ever wondered what controls the heartbeat? Cardiac pacemaker. The heartbeat is generated and controlled by a pacemaker present in the heart. It also possesses specialized excitatory conducting system which ensures the rhythmic beating of all the cardiac muscles. The walls of the atria form the atrial syncytium and the two ventricular walls constitute the ventricular syncytium. The pacemaker is located in the wall of the right atrium. It is also known as sinoatrial node or SA node. The SA node generates an impulse which spreads across the walls of the atria through the specialized conducting system, causing both atria to contract in unison. During atrial contraction, This electrical impulse reaches the atrioventricular node or AV node. Here, the impulse is delayed for about 0.1 second, after which it moves along the bundle of His, bifurcates into bundle branches before spreading along the Purkinje fibers. The impulse reaches the lateral ventricular walls and causes its contraction. Thus, the impulse generated at the SA node causes atrial contraction and flow of blood into ventricles, and then the ventricles contract, pumping the blood out of the heart. It is the impulse generated by the SA node that causes the heart's chamber and valves to work in tandem. Thus, we conclude that it is the SA node as the cardiac pacemaker which sets the rhythmicity of the heartbeat. Summary. We can now observe the impulse conduction and heartbeat in synchronization with the blood flow. The cardiac cycle begins with the SA node generating an impulse, which spreads to the two atrial walls and also reaches the AV node. The two atria which form the atrial syncytium contract. The AV node delays the transmission of the impulse by 0.1 second, which allows the atria to empty completely before the ventricles begin to contract. Then, the impulse moves along the bundle of His and finally through the Purkinje fibers to spread all over the ventricular walls. Finally, the ventricular syncytium contracts, thus pumping the blood out through the aorta and pulmonary artery. This is the end of one cardiac cycle.
Hope so. You understood it. Let's see the concept. What the concept we see in the cardiac cycle. Basically, in most of the book, has given the three phases or the three sequences, or it may says as the events. बहुत ज़्यादातर बुक में दिए हैं 3 phases होते हैं, 3 sequence होते हैं, or it may called as the events also. Okay, but in some of the book has given the 5 phases. ये 5 कौन से phases होते हैं मैं आपको पहले तो बता देती हूँ. ये कौन कौन से phases है. पहली वाली जो phase है उसको बोला जाता है arterial systole. उसको क्या बोला जाता है? आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल. सेकेंड जो फेज होती है उसको बोला जाता है वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल. आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल फर्स्ट, सेकेंड वन इज आर्टेरियल डायस्टोल, थर्ड वन इज अ वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल एंड द फोर्थ वन इज अ वेंट्रिकुलर डायस्टोल एंड द फिफ्थ वन इट इज अ जॉइंट डायस्टोल. जॉइंट डायस्टोल मतलब इसका क्या है? आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल आर्टेरियल डायस्टोल एंड द वेंट्रिकुलर डायस्टोल, इन दोनों को मिला के बनता है जॉइंट डायस्टोल और इट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड एज अ कंप्लीट डायस्टोल. लेकिन आपका जो एचएससी का बुक है उसमें क्या दिया है ये भी आपको पता होना चाहिए. इसमें क्या दिया है? इसमें दिया है पहली वाली जो फेज है और इवेंट है उसका नाम है आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल. सेकेंड जो फेज है उसको बोला जाता है वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल and the third phase it called as the joint diastole. Joint diastole का मतलब क्या है? Complete diastole. That is a ventricular and the auricular diastole. Let me see one by one in detail. पहले तो हम लोग देखेंगे arterial systole का मतलब क्या है. Arterial systole, that is this atrium. Atrium receives the deoxygenated. Atrium में कौन से blood है? Atrium. As the atrium, it is a right atrium and this is as the left atrium. This right atrium, it receives the deoxygenated blood and the left atrium, it receives the oxygenated blood. When both the atria, ये जो दोनों जो atrium region है, ये क्या होने वाला है? ये completely fill होने वाले blood से. तो इसकी वजह से क्या होने वाला है? इसके वजह से होने वाला है प्रेशर क्रिएट होने वाला है. दैट इज अ प्रेशर विच इज एक्सर्टेड ऑन द वॉल. ड्यू टू दिस प्रेशर, इस प्रेशर की वजह से क्या होने वाला है? दैट इज द SA node. This SA node it get excited and it generate the cardiac impulses. Due to this, the cardiac muscle of arterial wall it is contract That result is what the arterial contraction means. What? Arterial systole condition. This atria ये कहाँ पे ओपन होने वाला है? ये ओपन होने वाला है वेंट्रिकल में. That is the atria. Arterial systole. It pumps the blood towards the ventricle. That is the blood. It is prevented. This right atrium, it receives the deoxygenated blood from inferior vena cava as well as the coronary sinus. Both it is guarded by the wall. That is, yes, all of you know, it says as the Eustachian wall and it says as the Thebasian wall. When both the atria, it enters into the systolic condition, that is completing the systolic condition. This atria, it pumps the blood towards the ventricle. That is called as, that time, both these atria, it is entered it into which condition? Yes, it is entered it into the relaxed condition. That is seen as the diastolic condition. Means, what about the duration is that is arterial systole. Let me see one of the diagram for better understanding. Yes, we know that this arterial AS, yes, AS it is indicated as the arterial systole and the AD it is indicated as the arterial diastole. When the blood it is entered it into the atrial region, that is the right atrium and the left atrium. Yes, all of you know the heart diagram very well. It's a very simple diagram. I will draw you for better understanding. Here there is a presence of the right atrium and here there is a presence of the left atrium. Okay. As this right atrium, it receives the deoxygenated blood and here there is a receive the oxygenated blood. When the SA node, it's called as the pacemaker. Due to this SA node, it create the impulses. This impulses which is transversed towards the AV node. When the impulses is generated, that time this atria enters it into the systolic condition. Means ये जो वाला है ये पूरी तरह से blood से fill up हो जाता है. Okay, that is called as the systolic condition and the duration it is called as the 0. It's near about the 0.1 second. Here I will show you. Here there is a 0.1 second is here. Okay, it's a simple graph is given, that is a 1 systole plus 1 diastole. It's a formation of the 1 heartbeat. 1 contraction plus 1 relaxation, it forms the 1 heartbeat. That is, it requires how much second? Yes, it is definitely required the 0.8 second. So how this 0.8 second is formed? That is the arterial systole, it's a 0.1 second and the remaining it's a 0.7 second. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, the 0.7 second it says as a arterial diastole. That is 1 systole plus 1 diastole, it forms a 1 heartbeat. Next we see that is the ventricular systole. ये ventricular systole क्या है फिर? This ventricular systole, again we consider the 1 heart diagram, okay, for better understanding. That is this ventricle. Ventricle, yes, it's definitely the inferior chamber. It says as the right ventricle and it says as the left ventricle. Okay, the right ventricle, it receives which blood? It receives the deoxygenated blood and the left ventricle, it receives the oxygenated blood. The impulses which is started from SA node से जो impulses form होने वाले हैं वो कहाँ पे आने वाले हैं? Yes, definitely it is reaches up to the AV node. ये कहाँ पे आने वाले हैं? AV node, that is the atrioventricular node, and this AV node it get excited, that is atrioventricular node it excited and it send the impulses to which part? Yes, it's definitely it's a bundle of his and from bundle of his the impulses ये कहाँ पे जाने वाले हैं? ये जाने वाले हैं ventricle के wall के ऊपर, that is called as the Purkinje fibers. जब ये impulses Purkinje fiber पे spread होने वाले हैं, okay, that is it is spread over the wall of the ventricle. ये ventricle के wall के ऊपर पूरी तरह से spread होने वाले हैं. Means that condition, the ventricle it is entered it into which condition? Yes, definitely the ventricle it is filled with the blood. यहाँ पे जो ventricle है, right ventricle and the left ventricle, it is entered it into which condition? That is a contraction condition. Means it says as a systolic condition. ये कौन सी condition बोला जाता है? इसको बोला जाता है systolic condition. Okay, that is when it receives the blood. Okay, that is this ventricle enters it into the systolic condition. The right ventricle, this is says as a right ventricle. This right ventricle it pumps which blood? It pumps the deoxygenated blood. ये कौन सा blood pump करता है? Deoxygenated blood. It into the pulmonary aorta. इसको क्या बोला जाता है? इसको बोला जाता है pulmonary aorta. Okay. And the left ventricle कौन सा blood pump करने वाला है? Left ventricle it pumps which blood? It pumps the oxygenated blood. Okay, the left ventricle it pumps the oxygenated blood into the aorta, but at the base of the systematic aorta as well as at the base of the pulmonary aorta there is a presence of the wall, and the right atrium opens it into the right ventricle. Left atrium opens it into the left ventricle. That time there is a presence of the wall. Yes, all of you know the name of that wall. Towards the right side there is a presence of the tricuspid wall, and towards the left side there is a presence of the mitral wall. What's another name of mitral wall? It says as a bicuspid wall. That is, this wall it is closed when the blood which is pumped from atrium towards the ventricle. That time the sound is heard, and that sound it is called as the lup sound. इस sound को क्या बोला जाता है? इसको बोला जाता है lup sound. In the normal condition, when the ventricle it is filled with the blood, that is it in the contraction condition, it is in the systolic condition. And what about the period of the systolic condition? That is indicated as the Vs. So this Vs it is the 0.3 second. Here 1, 2 and the 3. So how many second is here? That is a 0.3 second. Okay. And what about the ventricular diastole? It's a 0.5 second. How it is calculated? Here 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5. That is a ventricular diastole. It's how much duration? It is a 0.5. That is a 0.3 plus 0.5 second. Means एक systole और single diastole से क्या बनता है? Single heartbeat बनता है. Okay. And the duration is how much? That is a 0.8 second. So afterward, what the phenomena is here? The right atrium as it is opens it into the right ventricle, and at the base of the pulmonary aorta there is a presence of the wall, and that wall it is called as the semilunar wall, and here there is a presence of the semilunar wall in the systematic aorta. When this semilunar wall it is closed, why it is closed? Yes, all of you know, to prevent the backflow of the blood. When this wall it is closed, when this semilunar wall is closed, that time the sound is here. That sound it is called as the dup sound. Means when the tricuspid and the bicuspid wall is closed, that time the sound is heard. It known as the lup sound. And when the semilunar wall it is closed, that time the sound is heard. It known as the dup sound. Afterward, the next condition, it's a third condition. It says as the joint diastole condition. So, what's that joint diastole condition? Okay, this period is here. That is the duration is here. It's a 0.4 second. means when this arterial diastole and the ventricular diastole, both it is in which condition? That is a relaxation condition, means it is a diastolic condition. So this period, it is the here both this graph, it is indicate where there is a absence of any systolic condition. यहाँ पे क्या दिखाई दे रहा है आपको? यहाँ पे इस पीरियड में, इस ड्यूरेशन में ना कि वेंट्रिकल सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन में है और ना ही आर्टेरियल सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन में है. मीन्स यहाँ पे क्या है? यहाँ पे वेंट्रिकल जो है वो भी डायस्टोलिक कंडीशन में है और ऑरिकल भी डायस्टोलिक कंडीशन में है. इसलिए इस ड्यूरेशन को क्या बोला जाता है और इस फेज को क्या बोला जाता है? इसको बोला जाता है जॉइंट डायस्टोलिक कंडीशन. सो व्हाट अबाउट द पीरियड? इट इज here from 0.4. Okay, here we completed the VS का जो पीरियड है वो कितना था? 1, 2 और 3, 0.3 सेकेंड था. यहाँ से यहाँ तक जो है वो सिस्टोलिक फेज है, इसलिए इसको कंसिडर नहीं किया जाएगा. लेकिन इसके आगे का जो पीरियड है जहाँ तक कि AS का पीरियड चालू नहीं होता, ओके, वो कितना होता है? 0.1 सेकेंड का होता है. तो ये जो बीच का जो पीरियड है वो कितना है? वो है 0.4 सेकेंड. दैट इज हियर 1, 2, 3 एंड 4. कितना हो गया? ये 0.4 सेकेंड हो गया. तो हमें क्या कैलकुलेट करना है? दैट इज वन सिस्टोल 0.1 सेकेंड. किसका था? आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल का था 0.1 सेकेंड. 0.3 सेकेंड किसका था? 0.3 सेकेंड था वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल का. मीन्स ये जो पीरियड है ये पीरियड किसका हो गया है? ये पीरियड हो गया सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन. सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन मीन्स व्हाट? दैट इज द कॉन्ट्रैक्शन कंडीशन. सिस्टोलिक का मीनिंग क्या है? इट्स अ कॉन्ट्रैक्शन कंडीशन. ये हो गया 0.4 सेकेंड टुगेदर. ओके, एंड व्हाट इज रिमेनिंग? दैट इज अ डायस्टोलिक कंडीशन. तो डायस्टोलिक कंडीशन क्या है? रिलैक्स्ड कंडीशन है. दैट इज अ रिलैक्सेशन ऑफ द हार्ट. ये कितना आया है अपना? ये आया है 0.4 सेकेंड. तो इन दोनों का मिला के कितना हो गया आपका? 0.8 सेकेंड. ओके, ऑल ऑफ यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस ग्राफ? व्हाट्स द फिनोमेना इट इज इंक्लूडेड इन दिस ग्राफ? आपको अगर ये जो वाली इमेज है आपने इजीली और समझ के याद रखी तो आपको एग्जाम में बहुत आराम से आप लिख सकते हो. इसमें किसी भी चीज का रट्टा मारने की कोई भी जरूरत नहीं है. बहुत आराम से आप इसका आंसर्स लिख सकते हो. चलो हम देखते हैं हम लोग ने क्या पढ़ा है अभी. दैट इज अ आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल. Arterial systole, that is a right atrium. It receives the deoxygenated blood. Right atrium में कौन सा ब्लड आने वाला है? आपको अभी याद होगा. ये बहुत सिंपल सी डायग्राम मैंने ड्रॉ की थी. इस साइड का जो पोर्शन था इसको बोला जाता है राइट एट्रियम और इस साइड का जो पोर्शन है इसको बोला जाता है लेफ्ट एट्रियम. ओके, यहाँ पे कौन सा ब्लड आने वाला है? यहाँ पे आने वाला है डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड. और लेफ्ट साइड में कौन सा ब्लड आने वाला है? यस श्योर, इट इज द ऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड. ये जो दोनों एट्रिया ये कंप्लीटली फिलअप होने वाले हैं. अगर ये फिलअप हो गया तो क्या होगा? आगे के जो वॉल है उसमें प्रेशर क्रिएट होगा. तो ये प्रेशर क्रिएट होगा तब क्या होने वाला है? तब इम्पल्सेस जनरेट होने वाला है. दैट इज अ SA नोड. इट गेट एक्साइटेड एंड इट जनरेट द कार्डियक इम्पल्सेस. ड्यू टू दिस द कार्डियक मसल्स in the arterial wall, it is contract and causing the arterial systole. This arterial systole, when it is contract, it pumps the blood towards which part? Inferior part. And what's the name of the inferior part? Yes, it is says as the ventricle. इसको क्या बोला जाता है? Ventricle बोला जाता है. जो inferior distributing chamber है उसको बोला जाता है ventricle. तो ventricle जो ये right atrium में blood आया है, ओके, ये जो डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड आया है राइट एट्रियम में, ये कहाँ से आया है? ये आया है इंफीरियर वेना कवा से, ये आया है कोरोनरी साइनस से. लेकिन यहाँ पे क्या है? यहाँ पे है वॉल. दैट्स वॉल. यस, ऑल ऑफ यू रिमेम्बर द नेम. आप सभी को इसके नाम पता है. मैंने लास्ट वीडियो में भी इसके नाम बोले हैं. इट सेज एज अ यूस्ट्रियन वॉल और इट सेज एज अ तिबेसियन वॉल. इसका फंक्शन क्या है आपको पता है? इट्स प्रिवेंट्स द बैक फ्लो ऑफ द ब्लड. That is when the blood it is enters it into the atrium region. That is says as the systolic condition, and it is last for the 0.1 second. And when the blood it is pumped from atria towards the ventricle, that time that atrium it is enters it into which condition? It's a diastolic condition. Diastolic का दूसरा नाम क्या है आपको पता है? Yes, yes. You know that it is the relaxation condition. Okay, and it's how much? It's a 0.7 second. The next one is a ventricular systole. तो ventricular systole क्या है? Ventricular systole क्या है? That is a impulses. Ventricular systole क्या है? Impulses आने वाले हैं. Impulses कहाँ से आने वाले हैं? Impulses आने वाले हैं SA नोड से. यहाँ पे था SA नोड. ओके, मैं कलर चेंज कर लेती हूँ ताकि आपको अच्छे से समझ में आए. ओके, जस्ट अ सेकेंड, आई विल चेंज द कलर. I will take the blue color. Okay, here there is a presence of the AV node. Okay, in the interarterial septum near to the coronary sinus. ये ऐसे नोड से जो impulses आएंगे वो कहाँ पे आने वाले हैं? AV नोड तक. ओके, AV नोड फिर एक्साइटेड हो जाएगा और एक्साइटेड होने के बाद ये इम्पल्सेस कहाँ पे जाने वाले हैं? ये इम्पल्सेस जो है ये जाने वाले हैं बंडल ऑफ हीस. ओके, एंड फ्रॉम बंडल ऑफ हीस द इम्पल्सेस व्हिच इज ट्रांसवर्स टुवर्ड्स द Purkinje fibers. ओके, when the Purkinje fibers spread the impulses all over the wall of the ventricle, ये पूरी तरह से ये स्प्रेड होने वाले वेंट्रिकल के ऊपर. ओके, दैट टाइम द वेंट्रिकल्स इट इज, यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट है. वो क्या है? वेंट्रिकल कौन से कंडीशन में जाने वाला है? वेंट्रिकल जाने वाला है. यस, डेफिनेटली इट इज इन द कॉन्ट्रैक्शन फेज. व्हाट्स अनदर नेम ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्शन? दैट इज अ सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन. तब आगे जाके क्या होने वाला है? द राइट वेंट्रिकल, ये कौन सी साइड है? राइट वेंट्रिकल. और ये वाली कौन सी है? लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल. द राइट वेंट्रिकल इट पंप्स द डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड. ये कौन सा ब्लड पंप करने वाला है? डीऑक्सीजनेटेड ब्लड. लेकिन ये ब्लड कहाँ पे जाने वाला है? यस, डेफिनेटली ऑल ऑफ यू नो ये ब्लड कहाँ पे जाने वाला है? ये जाने वाला है पल्मोनरी ट्रंक के अंदर. ओके, और जो लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल है, लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल से ब्लड कहाँ पे जाने वाला है? ब्लड जाने वाला है सिस्टमैटिक अरोटा के अंदर. When the blood which is transfers from auricle to the ventricle, that time there is a presence of wall. Yes, all of you know the name of the wall. Yes, all of you know the name of the wall. Yes, as in the last video we see the name. Here there is a presence of the tricuspid wall and here there is a presence of the bicuspid wall. So when this wall it is closed, that time which sound is here? There is a sound, it says as a lup sound. That's a period or the duration, we call this as a duration. It's a ventricular systolic duration. It's a 0.3 second. And when the blood it is pumped towards the aorta, that is a ventricle enters it into which condition? That is a diastolic condition. It is a 0.5 second. So this ventricular systole, it's a 0. How many second is there? That is a 0.3. 1, 2 and the 3. And the ventricular diastole, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 and the 5. That is a 0.3 plus 0.5. It's a contraction condition and this one it's a relaxation condition, that is a 0.5. But when? But with, all of you know, at the base of the pulmonary trunk, that is a pulmonary aorta, and at the base of the systematic aorta, there is a presence of wall. Yes, all of you know the name of the wall. It says as the semilunar wall. When the semilunar wall it is closed to prevent the backflow of the blood, that time the second sound we heard, it says as the dup sound. And the last but least is here, that is the joint diastole condition. Joint diastole means what? When both the atria and the ventricle it is in the diastole condition. Means it is in the relaxation condition. There is absence of the any systolic condition. आप देख रहे हो ये जो इमेज है, ये इमेज में ऐसा पीरियड है कि जहाँ पे सिंगल सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन नहीं है. ये कौन सा पीरियड है? ये यहाँ से यहाँ तक का पीरियड है. ओके, कि यहाँ पे सिंगल सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन नहीं है. तो यहाँ पे कौन सा पीरियड बन गया है? जॉइंट डायस्टोल. मीन्स यहाँ पे वेंट्रिकल भी सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन में नहीं है और ऑरिकल भी सिस्टोलिक कंडीशन में नहीं है. तो ये इसका जो ड्यूरेशन है वो कितना बन गया है? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So how much its period? That is a 0.4 second. That is says as the joint diastole or the complete diastole condition. Thus the duration of one cardiac cycle it is a 0.8 second. Sometimes the wall are defective. Means which wall? It may be the tricuspid, bicuspid wall. It may be the semilunar wall. When it's a defective, the abnormal adventitious sound is here. And what's it called? That sound. It is a heart murmuring sound, or it says as the hissing sound. चलो देखते हैं. एक सिंपल से इमेज मैंने यहाँ पे ली है. क्या है ये इमेज? मैंने आप सभी को अभी तक बताया कि कार्डियक साइकिल कैसे बनती है. पहला जो है वो है आर्टेरियल सिस्टोल, सेकेंड वन इट्स वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल, and the third and the most important event it's a ventricular diastole condition. That is the SA node, AV node, then there is a bundle of His, and the last one is the Purkinje fibers. Hope so you understood it. Thanks for watching my video. Stay tuned to my channel. Thank you.